Sure, my name is Dr. Lauren Lieberman. I am a distinguished service professor at the College at Brockport in Brockport, New York. I'm in the kinesiology department, and I've been teaching undergraduate and graduate courses in adapted physical education for 24 years at the College at Brockport. And before I was at Brockport, I taught at the Perkins School for the Blind. I taught in the deaf-blind program, and I taught kids with multiple and severe disabilities. So one of the questions I've been asked, how do we include kids with moderate and severe disabilities in education? And one approach that's been working very well for children in the classroom up until now has been called Universal Design for Learning. And in the Universal Design for Learning approach, there are three main areas. And one is multiple means of engagement, two is multiple means of representation, and three is multiple means of action and expression. So under multiple means of engagement is how does the teacher offer to introduce the skills or the activities? It can't just be one way. It can't just be auditory. It has to be auditory and visual with demonstrations and cues and examples. And it has to be multisensory in order to engage all learners. So multiple means of expression means just that the teacher shows and exhibits what they want the child to do in multiple ways. Multiple means of representation is all the different ways that you give the child to execute the skill. Can you show lines on the floor? Can you give multiple cues? Can you have a peer tutor? And so multiple means of representation is just getting the child to really understand what you want them to do in a variety of ways. And lastly, multiple means of action and expression means that child can show you what they've learned. They can be assessed in many ways. So instead of just asking a child to write down a math problem or to do the shuttle run in physical education or do a volleyball serve from the service line, they might be allowed to do it on a computer. They might be allowed to draw it. They might be allowed to pick which picture is the appropriate action. But it's not just one way of expressing what they know. It's multiple means of action and expression. There is a book that we've published called Universal Design for Learning in Physical Education, Getting It Right from the Start, that's published through Human Kinetics and is available to help you with these three areas of universal design. Another aspect that would really be helpful when you're including children with moderate to severe disabilities in any setting is utilizing the multidisciplinary team. So the multidisciplinary team are people like the vision teacher, the physical therapist, the speech therapist. You might have an autism specialist, and in many countries we have what's called paraeducators or teachers' aides. And one person cannot be the specialist for every child. For example, I might have a child that has swallowing issues. I might get help from the occupational therapist. And I might have a child with behavioral issues. I might get help from the behavioral specialist. And it's totally fine to ask for help because that's the purpose of the multidisciplinary team, because people are specializing in that particular area. And I have children that have medical issues. They're medically fragile. They might have a trach. They might have a feeding tube, and it's perfectly fine to be asking the medical professionals like nurses and physicians and asking them about how do you implement a certain unit like yoga. If you're using a therapy ball, can the child roll on the therapy ball if they have back issues? And so those are some really good examples of using the multidisciplinary team. One wonderful tool that is accessible for all teachers is called the Lieberman-Bryan Inclusion Rating Scale for Physical Education. The purpose of the inclusion rating scale is to give the teacher an idea of what's going well and what they might need to work on in their inclusive class. It measures the effort that the teacher makes in order to include all children, not just kids with disabilities, but all children. And so the Lieberman-Bryan Inclusion Rating Scale for Physical Education is a 27-item rating tool that rates the teacher from the time the children walk into the classroom until the time the children leaves. It looks at everything from the warm-up of the class, to instruction, to pairing, to making teams, to modifications to the environment, modifications to instruction, and to equipment. And it also can give the teacher a score and let them know what they're doing well in and what they need to work on. The teacher can use that tool to get more support from administrators and from other staff. For example, it looks at how well that they work with the paraeducators or teachers' aides. If they don't have access to the aides or the paraeducators, it's going to be very difficult for them to give instruction for the children with moderate and severe disabilities. So this Lieberman-Bryan Inclusion Rating Scale for Physical Education really takes a global or a very wide view of the physical education class and helps the teacher focus on the areas of weakness. It's not judging the teacher, it's not telling them they're bad, it's just saying, what do you need to do to meet the needs of all children? You can find the LRSP on the NCPAD website, which it's the National Center on Health, Physical Activity, and Disability website. So it's ncpad.org, and then if you just put in LRSPE, L-I-R-S-P-E, the whole LRSP will come up with the scale itself, the rubrics for each item, and also the validation article. But you can also watch a video that kind of helps you look at each item of the LRSP. So I hope that you get a chance to use that, and it will help you, and it'll help the children and the families.